Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, and that means that we are at the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida, with John's Dungeon Corner. That's right. Hope everything has been good so far this weekend. We've been able to. Happy Friday, Sarah. It is a happy Friday. How you doing? How you doing? Glad to see you here. Boy, good stuff going on. I got a bunch of books and a bunch of dice. What more do you need, right? Dice. It's so much fun. Oh, the funniest thing happened today. I'll tell you guys what I got here. Hey, Chad. How are you? Welcome to the show. Good to see you. So I was out and I was fiddling. You know, I always grab D6s to bring out. And so I'm out there and I grabbed a set of D4, D6. And I'm just like, I grabbed them and I rolled them in a little case and came up with 3 6s and a 5. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I grabbed them and I go out there and I roll them a couple times on the table. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I grab them back up and I throw them back in their storage area. And I come up with 2 5s and 2 6s. I'm like, man, I might have to go buy those dice, but they're pink, so I don't know yet. Maybe. I don't want my purple dice getting mad at me, and then they don't roll 20s. I'd be mad. No, but you know what? I love dice. I ain't gonna lie. Dice are so much fun. And I've been rolling dice for a long time. But yes. Somebody asked me, they saw. So I was running the game this last Wednesday. I took over dungeon mastering for a couple of months, and then my son will take back over. But I had my neat little dice tray that I got here at the Collective, and I was rolling it. Of course, it has that neat little hand, and it fits 6 full sets of dice in there, which is really nice. Okay. And so one of the players said, wow, that's a lot of dice. I said, no, not really. This is just what I use to dungeon master here on Wednesday nights. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, I got dice for dungeon mastering here. I got a whole nother set of dice at home for when I game master that one in my case. I have dice. I have a whole bag of dice that are purple when I play. And then, of course, I have loner dice. And they're just like, wow. I said, yeah, if you go back on one of my earlier shows, you'll see all the dice at one time. It's kind of crazy. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, when I tell you that you can never have enough dice, I mean you can never have enough dice. So with that, I want to talk about a question. The question that was posed to me on Wednesday, actually, and I told them I would talk about it on the show. In fact, it's the only thing I'm really going to talk about here. And that was, there was a lot of character creation. It actually happened the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of character creation going on. There's Dungeons and Dragons is really rolling, and the Dungeons and Dragons movie's coming out. And if you missed the trailer last week on my show, you can go back to last week's John's Dungeon Corner, and I talked about it for a little bit, and then we showed the trailer. Danny was here. It was awesome. I mean, you got to see. I've seen it like 4, 5, 6 times, 7, maybe 8. Oh, well, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's not because I like D&D or anything, you know. But it's a lot. It's really neat. And the more times you see it, the more things you see. And there's just really neat stuff that goes on in there. I mean, there's some really cool classic Dungeons and Dragons monsters in there. And, everybody sees dragons. And, of course, we remember Smaug with the fire breath and all that. But it was really neat because they have a black dragon. And black dragons spit out acid. And, wow, they did a really good job with that. I mean, it's just amazing. Of course, there's Antonio's favorite and one of my favorites, the Mimic, the Gelatinous Cube. Just really cool stuff. Just really neat things. And so we're really looking forward to that movie. And I remind you again, the Collective will be going to the movie as a whole, as a group. So they're going to be selling tickets. Hey, William, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Welcome back. Good to see you. We were just talking about the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Last week we played the trailer on the show. Oh, yeah. But so wanted to talk about, and for those of you who don't know, William St. Quentin, he created the 47 Furious Tales that I love and Reign of Ages. I bet you have. You're a busy man. But that's a good thing, that's a really good thing. And it's good to be swamped. I'm glad. But things have been really good as far as the Dungeons and Dragons resurgence. And in that, a lot more people have started playing, so they're creating new characters. And with that being said, there's a lot of material out there. I've gone over this before in my previous shows, but I want to kind of touch base on it. Today's show is going to be nice and straightforward and simple, not really long, because I want to answer just this, because it's a lot. It is a lot. I create a character. So let's talk about this. We create a character for the first time. We don't really know the game. We've kind of heard about it. Maybe we've seen it. We've played it online or something, but we've never really sat down with people to play. So we come out and we kind of have an idea what we want to do. We kind of have an idea what kind of race we want to play, but we're not sure. I don't know quite what class I want to do. Well, hey, what do you guys need? And sometimes that's actually good because you put them in a role and they kind of get familiar with the mechanics. Dungeons and Dragons is like everything else. I think it's about the mechanics. Okay, I roll initiative. I attack. I got certain things that I can do on my turn. I can move. I have an action that I can do, and that entails a whole bunch of stuff. I have a reaction that I can take. I can do bonus actions. So there's a lot of mechanics, and that's what I like to call the mechanics of the game. That really, once you understand that, everything else just kind of falls into place. Because it doesn't matter what race or what class or what level you are, the mechanics are always the same. Okay? I come in, I'm searching. Okay, I use my skills. Maybe I'm not using my skills. Maybe I'm just going down the hallway. Someone else is using their skills. I'm the fighter. Boom. We see a monster. Neither group is surprised, so we roll initiative. Doesn't matter what level you are. That's just the way combat is. The only thing that might happen is that if we surprise the monsters surprise us, one or the other may not get to act. Okay, great. But it's initiative. Boom. Eventually, we got to roll that initiative. All right. Then combat begins. And in that combat, there's certain things that I can do. I can move. I can do an action, which is many, but for fighters, probably going to be I'm going to swing my sword and attack somebody. And then I can either A, move again, if I didn't use all my movement, and I can move even if it opens up attack of opportunity, but we can move again if we have movement left. Sometimes you have special abilities that allow you to attack again, or I take a bonus action, or I may even hold my action. Hey, Willie, good to see you, brother. Welcome to the show. We're just talking about creating characters today. So, and even if I'm a 15th level fighter and I'm with a 7th level cleric, let's say, it's still initiative. My actions are next. And like I said, there's quite a few things you can do as an action. Okay. Then I get a bonus action. Now, if I'm a caster, let's say that I'm a cleric. Here we go. A war domain cleric. And I'm up there fighting, boom, and I hit this creature. But I notice, I knock this creature down. I notice, oh man, my bard is a little hurt, or my rogue has gotten a little beat up. Now I can use a bonus action and cast Healing Word on him, as long as he's within range. So see, there's my reaction or my bonus action. Or, I'm just going to wait in case there's I'm in the back, I'm the archer, and I'm kind of watching, and even the bard. I'm going to wait to see if anything else comes out. I'm going to hold my reaction, and the trigger is going to be that once another enemy comes into view, because everybody else is pretty much taking care of the situation. Once another enemy comes into view, I'm going to attack with my bow. Okay, there you go. So there's even that reaction. So that happens regardless of class, race, or level. That's the way it works. All right. After combat, we can do some role playing. Maybe we capture an individual, whatever. But that's the gist of it. Right. What I call mechanics. Yes, spellcasting has its own mechanics. Attacks and using your skills, but they're all mechanics that everybody uses. And I think that once you get that down, then you can really concentrate on, hey, how do I develop my character even more? All right. What I told a couple of players this week was, when you create your character, now let's back up. As a new character, you want to keep it as simple for them as possible. All right. Hello, love. Welcome to the show. We're talking about character creation. So what I told them was, keep it simple, because you can always change your character. we can always create another character. Once again, once you know the mechanics, you can just about do anything. So fighters are great. They're always involved in combat. The spellcasters take a little bit more to learn, to kind of use, because you've got all this magic you got to choose, and you don't even know the spells yet. You're not quite sure what the spells are. So that's a little bit more in depth when you first create a character. There's a lot of things to think about. But I'm going to kind of jump ahead because this is kind of where we were going with that conversation is. All right, so I want to do this. I want to do this. And I said, but you're only first level. The thing is, once you play a couple times and you create probably your third or fourth character, I would say, after you've played a little bit, you got the mechanics down, you can now go, okay, here's the way you think about it. Where do I want to be when I get my first ability score increase at fourth level or feat? Where do I want to go with that? And it's almost like you do a reverse engineering. And this is the way I look at my character now. When I'm at 20th level, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And then I just work them backwards. Okay? Because, at 4th, 8th, 12th, 8th, and 16, 20, you get your feats, you get your ability score increases, this, that, the other. All right? You get all these skills. Well, if you work them backwards from where you want to end up to where you are, you kind of draw yourself a path. And remember, you start at first level, so you can kind of deviate that path and even come back to it if you want. I've played a lot of different classes. Currently, I'm playing a bard in one campaign, in the Ravenloft campaign with Andy, and in the one that Antonio runs, where he's now 8th level, I play a warlock bard. So a dual class, he's 5th and 3rd. Okay, so I'm having a good time with that, mixing it up. I normally just play rogues, but there's enough rogues, and I wanted to try something, just kind of do something different. And it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. So back to the whole creating the character. Now, I have all these books out in front of me because the question was posed, well, where are they getting all these cool other characters that aren't in the book? Well, there are, like I said in earlier shows, the Player's Handbook has a lot of different, and remember, a character is more than just those stats. So you've got your race that gives you certain abilities. You've got and modifiers and special cool things. Then you've got your class, which is a totally different. It gives you, as you go up levels. Remember, your race is only when you create it. This is what you get. Then when you go up in levels, your class gives you different benefits and abilities and skills as you go up. Okay, so that's an ever-changing, an ever-developing thing. Abilities and skills and special features, more spells, whatever. Okay, that's that. Then you have, as you create your character, now you have a background that you choose. And that in and of itself will give you, sometimes you'll get more languages, sometimes you get skills, sometimes you get both. You get choices, it gives you more equipment. Okay? So that package pretty much sets out your foundation of your character. All right? So you got your race, you got your class, you got your background. You got all your skills, you got your attributes, your bonuses, your proficiency, so on and so forth. Here I am, I'm ready to go. I've chosen my spells if I'm a spellcaster. Now I get to like third level, second or third level, we start getting our different schools, our different paths, our domain. Well, that's a totally different story. We'll leave that one alone. Circles, if you're a druid, and so on and so forth, right? And then we make choices as a warlock, and we make choices. There's choices and choices and choices to make. The fighters, schools, and so on and so forth. And that's where we really start differentiating, because now the warlock can become a hexblade. The rogue can become an assassin. The bard can go into the school of the military school and become a swashbuckler type character. So there's different archetypes out there. That's what I like to call them, archetypes, that you can develop your character into even further. And that's where we start differentiating. Really. Yes, all these books in front of me from, I want to make sure I can read. We have The Sword Coast Adventurers, Fisburn's Treasury of Dragons, Mordenkinen's Tome of Foes, Tasha's Guide to of everything, of everything. And then we have Xanathar's Guide to Everything, because Xanathar didn't want to get left out. And I will always mention his book because I don't want him getting mad at me. Oh, and for those of you who don't know who Xanathar is, he's a very old and beholder, and we'll leave it at that. No more information is available at this time. No, but in these books, you're going to find, if you pick up the Sword Coast Adventures, okay, and you open up, and I'm just going to kind of go over each one quickly. Amazing artwork on those books. Yes, they are. The artwork inside the book is just as beautiful. So here, now this talks about the Sword Coast, which is Baldur's Gate, Candlekeep, which is set. Oh my gosh, I just went blank. It's Baldur's Gate, it's Neverwinter, and so on and so forth. And that whole area, Fendelver is in that area. But so we talk about the races of the realms, and then they kind of go into classes. They talked about the primal paths for the barbarian. But here's what I was talking about. Okay, so the monks, they have monastic orders and monastic traditions, paladin orders, sacred oaths, roguish archetypes, sorceress origins. So there's all kinds of things in this book that we can use. All right. Then we come to Fisburn's Treasury of Dragons. Okay. And now this is really neat. Fisburn did a great job putting this book together. We talk about character creation. Now, this is something character creation. The Draconic races, creating your character. It talks about chromatic, gem dragons. The gem dragons are introduced, so you can be like an amethyst dragonborn, I believe in, and so on and so forth. Heroes of the Dragon, dragon conic feats. They talk about dragon magic, so on and so forth here. So there's a lot of flavor coming out already, right? You see where this is all going. Now, some of this information you can use as you create your character, and some of it is for later on at times. So here we got, oh my gosh, here we got the elves. Now, everybody says, oh, the elves. Okay, cool. Well, there's a bunch of sub-races in here that aren't in the Player's Handbook. Player's Handbook has what? It has the elf, it has the wood elf, it has the drow elf, the gray elf. And then here they add I believe it's the sea elf, what is it called? The Seldarin and the Eladrin. So they're and the Shadar Kai. And I'm not going to get into what they are, but just an idea that here it is if you want more information on elves. So we have Dragonborns here, we have elves here. Then, of course, we got Tasha, who, of course, has some great information because it's on everything, all right? But character options. And remember I was talking about the different paths and circles and that. So let's talk about circles. Let's talk about the druid. In this one, we have the optional class features, and then we have the optional class features for each of the classes. And then, like for the druid, there's the circle of spores, the circle of stars, the circle of wildfire. For the ranger, well, let's talk about the rogue. For the rogue, there's a phantom and a soul knife. For the barbarian, path of the beast, path of wild magic. Ooh, interesting, right? So this is once you get to the higher levels, the second, third levels, depends on where your class gives you your next feature, that you can split off into that specialized branch. And now you can specialize your character even further. So no 2 or 3 or 4 barbarians will be the same. Okay. And I'm not just talking about by race or anything. I'm talking about even in their chosen professions. Now, this is Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Let me show you this book. This book is one of the special editions that came out with the covers. Look at this cover. It is gorgeous. I love it. Okay. Now, you see he's looking at this like crystal ball. It has this, I think it's like a koi fish. Yes, it's like a koi fish in it. In the Witchlight series, of figurines, there is this beautiful, same thing, crystal ball, but it has this beautiful fairy type creature in it. It's gorgeous. I actually have it. So I'm very particular about that. It's a very beautiful miniature. This one has a koi fish. I wish that had come out because I would get that anyway. I love that. It's a beautiful, that would be a beautiful miniature. Okay, so Xanathar gives us more options even. So like I said, I ran off 2 different paths for the barbarian. Now in this one, we have the Path of the Ancestral Guardian. This is for Barbarian. Path of the Storm Herald and Path of the Zealot. So we're up to 6 of them. Plus, I believe there's 3 in the original. That's 9 different paths. And I'm sure that there's a bunch of books that are not up here, by the way. There are another 2 or 3, not a bunch, but at least 2 or 3 others that have more information in them. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of just where these classes, not so much classes, but where these specializations come from and where these unique races come from. Okay, so then you've got the monk. Where the Drunken Master, like in movies, right? Drunken Master. We've all seen that one with Jackie Chan, Charlie Chan. Oh my God, with Jackie Chan in it, right? Did you bring your box to show? No, Willie. I'm going to do that next week because next week we got some new stuff coming out, and I'm going to show. That's another question they asked me, but it's just too much for one show. Is someone saw the different dice bags in this, and they're like, "Well, where can I get?" And I was going to talk about the. There's so much that's like its own show. And so I want to talk about this because there's a lot of people creating new characters, and I promised them that I would do something like this. Just to kind of throw this info out. I'm not going to go into a lot of more detail. But remember I was telling you about the Druid. So you heard about the other 3. So here we go. We got Circles of Dreams, the Circle of the Shepherds. And then there's this neat part, learning beast shapes. So this goes into a lot of detail, and I just kind of touched. Now here's the thing. I went over this kind of quick, okay? And I just kind of, and that's just scratching the surface. I'm going to tell you everything, because there's a lot to throw out there. And it's a lot to see, and you have to search through these different books. But with that being said, most Dungeon Masters have these books. New players, let me forewarn you. For the first session, even if it's just the first session, I would strongly advise you stick to the player's handbook. Pick something out of there. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of races in there. Your first level, learn the mechanics. Understand what initiative is. Kind of get an idea of how to use your skills in and out of combat. If you're a spellcaster, get used to the mechanics of using spells, when to use them, how they work, what the difference is between touch casting and ranged casting, how to use your DCs when people have to make spell saves, saves against the spells that you cast, and your attack modifier, where that goes and where it doesn't go. There's a lot to a class and a character when you first start out. It's a lot. So don't try to create the ultimate, because in all honesty, and a lot of people will say that's not right. There's no such thing as an ultimate anything. I've seen people take ultimate characters and get wiped out because, this is for people who play video games. I think this will kind of ring true. You can sometimes buy a high-level character. So you buy a brand new MMORPG or role-playing game, massively online role-playing game, right? And you go in there and you see these guys that are just unbelievable, and they're just, oh my gosh, these are like the guild leaders, and there's just these people in there just fantastic. They can wipe people out. Yeah, eventually they might die, but they're just amazing players. They usually start off at first level, learn how to play the game real well, and then kind of like did their thing. Then there's players that you see that have these really, you see them and they're like, wow, that's a really powerful looking character. And then they get killed all the time. And because they've bought it at the highest level of the game, they were able to purchase it. And nothing wrong with it. But you put that guy in your party, or you put a guy who's been playing for 4 or 5 years, and you're gonna see night and day. So what my advice to you is, be that guy, be that person that starts at first level, learns the mechanics of the game, because those aren't going to change no matter what class you play. All right? You're always going to roll initiative to see when assailants, who goes first, the enemies or you, your party or them. And within your party, there's an established order depending on this die roll. Same thing with the creatures. So learn the mechanics, know them well, apply them to your character, and you'll be successful pretty much 99.9% of the time. Sometimes you just can't help but roll that one. And you know what? Hopefully it won't be the death of you. But a lot of times, every once in a while, just like you roll a 1, let me see, where is it? You'll roll a 20, and that's a wonderful thing. All right? So with that in mind, I know it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of throw out there, and it is. Oh, my gosh. Dungeons & Dragons has evolved beautifully, actually. It's become a lot of fun. I played a game. I ran the game this weekend for my family at home, 10 players, 3 of them online, 7 in person. We had a great time. We ate dinner together. We laughed. We made jokes. And whatever we accomplished, okay? Remember why you're playing the game. There's no winning. By the way, somebody asks us, so how do you win? Well, I always tell you, if you walked away from the adventure, from that session, you're still alive, you won. Okay? If you're dead, you didn't really lose because, technically you can be resurrected as long as somebody takes your finger with them or your toe or something. But, I guess you could say if you're going to lose, that's it. But for the most part, there's no winning or losing. The winners are the ones who come and have a good time with their friends and family and have a good time, and they make some memories, There you go. That's it. Making the memories. No one can take those away from you. All right? But anyway, so with that being said, next week, I'm going to tell you now, next week we got some really cool stuff coming in. Some dice towers, I hope. Hopefully they'll be here. Some dice towers, some dice trays, just really cool stuff, accessories to play the game with. And I'm going to bring this wonderful box that my Tio made for me and the miniatures that my brother found for me at a Renaissance festival of all things, which are they're like 1980 something Grenadier and Reaper miniatures. Wait till you see them. They're little. Wait till you guys see these. You're gonna laugh how what miniatures look like now to when they look like back then. So that'll be a neat show next week. It'll be a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to show. So tell your friends, hey guys, do me a favor too. Talk to your friends. If they play Dungeons and Dragons, tell them about the show. I would love to get this show to where there's a bunch of people seeing it, even if it's not live, because I know at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, it's tough. All right? My own son can't even do that because he's working usually. He pops in every once in a while when he can. So, but I appreciate all of you who do. But tell your friends about it. If they're in different time zones, that's okay. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right? But anyway, thank you for your continued support. It's always a wonderful thing to see you guys. And as always, may the roll rise up to meet your feet. And may all your adventures be successful. Until next Friday at 1 o'clock here at the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida. Safe travels. I will see you, adventurers. Oh. Let me see if I can sign out now. Oh, I can't sign out. We're still live. Look at that. We're still live, everybody. Ha ha. Can you believe it? Nope.